Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? How are we? I thought I had a sound issue there for a second, but it was just the switching of the scenes. How are we doing this morning? Hello, Vengeance Falls. Good morning, SledgeHammer Horror. Good morning, Chris Marshall. Mitch, thank you very much for the lurk. Enjoy your writing. I hope we're all having a good Sunday. I want to introduce my guest. So, good screaming horde. I hope everyone had a great weekend, and I want to thank you again for digging yourselves up this morning to join me for Coffee Chat of Horrors. I'm super excited to introduce our guests today. We have Ken and Ashley Sledge from SledgeHammer Horror. Good morning, Nerdy. How are you? I'm going to go switch to our scene so we can meet Ken and Ashley. I'm really excited to have them on the show. Remember, guys, if you have any questions...
We can't hear you.
Yeah, I know you guys can't hear me. I was just going to switch our scenes and then you guys will be able to hear me. I just figured it'd save me from talking all over. All good. But I'm going to introduce Ken and Ashley Sledge. If you guys have any questions, please tag me or tag them in chat. As usual, I will be copying and pasting everything so nobody's question gets missed. And if you want to know where you guys can follow Ken and Ashley, do exclamation point guest in the chat. And you'll be able to stalk them at all their social media locations. Deadwalk, good morning. All right, guys, let's get into our CCOH. Hi, creepies. I am ReAnimateHer. I know, it just sounds like a porno all of a sudden. Some zombies start stripping their clothes off and shit.
Cat dead. Details later.
We got our ball cleavage back, ladies.
They're coming to get you, Barbara. They're coming for you, Barbara.
Do you want a game and get your jollies off as well? This is Coffee Chat of Horrors. Oh, that thing makes me laugh all the friggin' time. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Ken and Ashley. Welcome. Thank you so very much for being here. How are you guys doing?
We're so excited to be here. This is so awesome.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Oh, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for taking the time out of your Sunday to come and hang out with us and chat horror. Hello, Shelly Scott. Hello. Good morning, everybody. Joy Toy, hello. If you guys want to know where you can find these two lovely people, exclamation point guest in the chat. They make content here on YouTube. Mainly hang out and sit down with other horror folks and friends and chit chat. They also have a Twitter and Instagram, but I'm going to let them introduce themselves and tell us about them. So yeah, take it away, Ken and Ashley.
So I'm Ashley Sledge.
I'm Ken Sledge. SledgeHammer Horror is something that became a brainchild of Ashley's. I was lucky enough to grow up in a video store. My parents owned a video store, and our segment we do the most is My First Horror Movie, where I sit down and talk to people about the first horror movie they watched, how it affected them, what it means to them.
But we have other segments
Right.
like Versus, where we take an original versus a remake. We do Didn't See That Coming, where we watch movies that have a twist ending and we talk about how that affects us.
Lives, top 10s, franchise rankings. What's up, Lewis? Nice to see you, buddy. Yeah, My First Horror Movie is something that I used to do at parties, and Ashley was like, you should do this as a podcast. And then once that started to gain a little bit of traction, she came up with Didn't See That Coming. And I said, look, I'll only do this if you join me. And I took her as an introvert. I made her get on camera, and now she's the best part of SledgeHammer Horror.
Oh, that's very nice of you to say.
That's awesome. That is great. Ashley, go ahead. Tell us about what your experience is doing this as a couple as well. That's gonna be fun.
So at first I was kind of like behind the scenes. Like I didn't want to be like on camera. I'm very much so the introvert of the relationship. And he was like, kind of brought me out of my shell a little bit. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun. We do it together, like stuff like this, like our Sunday morning. It's just fun to hang out, with him and then with, all of you guys. So.
And it's funny because I'm lucky enough to where I found the person I was supposed to be with in high school. We've been together 17 years. We got 3 kids. So it's not like this is a new relationship. Right. We're just, doing something on the fly.
Right.
This is something that like I said, we've been together 17 years. Our very first date, we went to see Tom Cruise's War of the Worlds.
Horror movies kind of brought us together for sure. Like that's something that we've always had in common. We don't have much in common, but horror is one thing.
How much we love each other, our kids, and horror movies.
That's about it.
That's about all we got.
For sure. I feel you on that one. That's great. So you guys met in high school?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. That's got to be fun. And then growing up together, and then now together with 3 kids, and doing a passion of horror, podcasting, vodcast. That's awesome. Good morning, Not Just Horror. Hello, everybody. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask away. Exclamation point guests in the chat if you're not already stalking these guys on Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube, because their channel is here on YouTube. Please go and do so right meow. That's great that you guys do this together. My husband, we've been together 21 years. We have, thank you. We have a whole bunch of stuff in common except for horror. He's not a horror fan.
The complete opposite of us.
Right.
That's the only thing we have in common.
We ride motorcycles together, but he'll watch movies with me. Like it's not like he won't watch them. I just don't put him through it all the time, except for big ones that I want to see at the theater, right? Like Scream and Halloween and things like that. He'll come with me and he'll sit with me and he'll watch them. He'll sit through it. He likes horror comedies, but he's not into like the slashers or anything like that. He likes his action, like the Expendables.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
I will say, we just went and seen Sonic the Hedgehog 2 last night.
Oh, yeah, we did with our
how
daughter.
was it?
There are a lot of horror references in Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Really?
The very beginning, I'm not going to spoil anything, obviously, but when Dr. Eggman, Dr. Robotnik, when he's trying to summon his things, he says, Klaatu Varata Niktu. And I literally started laughing out loud in the theater. I was like, no way, that is so great. Then there's Poltergeist references. There's a lot of deep horror references in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Ghostbusters. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of horror references. Yeah. And I very much enjoy comedies as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think that horror and comedy is, out of any 2 genre, I think those are the closest knit because they are both all about timing.
Yeah.
While one is scary, one is making you laugh, but if it doesn't have the timing that it's supposed to have, it's going to flop.
Well, plus in a horror movie, you need that comic relief.
You do need levity.
Yeah. You do. You definitely do.
I would say that comedy is probably my second favorite genre of film. Right there with drama chick flicks. I'm a huge softie.
Yes, he totally is.
I know. Love The Notebook. It's one of my top 10 favorite movies, and I'm not being facetious. I'm being dead serious.
Oh, right on.
Anything where I love The Game Plan with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, where he finds out he's a dad.
You totally cried.
I cried during that movie.
I'm the one that doesn't cry anything, so I'll always just be like looking out of the corner of my eye, like, is he crying?
Right.
And I'm gonna be like, I'm not crying.
I was chopping wood earlier. I got wood in my eye when I was building a log cabin. I was wood.
Oh, that's so funny. Chick flicks, hey? I'm not a huge romantic fan. Like romantic comedies. I love my horror. That's my number one. And then I do enjoy horror. I like comedy and horror comedies. Mm-hmm. But I do agree that the timing for horror comedies, it's got to be down. I've seen some potential in horror comedies, and you're like, oh, well, that kind of wasn't where it was supposed to go.
Right. Like they're trying way too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be goofy and fun. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. So if you take a horror comedy seriously, you kind of lose the fun in that.
Right.
Horror Viking Beards and Horror is saying all horror movies are funny. I guess some could be. Others I wouldn't take all of them as funny.
Right.
There's certain ones, like I think anybody that has ever watched Sledgehammer Horror knows how I feel about sexual assaults in film, rape in film. Look, I love a good rape revenge story.
Right.
I just can't watch the rape part. Now, watching a guy get his dick cut like a hot dog after it's been in the microwave for too long, I'm fine with that. But the rape and sexual assault part is just not something that I can sit through. It makes my body hot. It makes me want to puke. I get physically ill. That's my trigger, I guess. I can't do it.
And there's some that have that. Everybody has their trigger. Exactly. And I don't like those kinds of representations just to be shocking either in a film. You know, Last House on the Left, that great film. Uncomfortable. Those films are exactly what the word horror means, right?
Yes.
Anything that's going to disturb you, disgust you, you know, bring that fear in you. So those types of films are actually the definition of horror. They are my most scary films. Like, films don't scare me, but home invasions and films like Last House on the Left and I Spit on Your Grave, that shit's very real. Unlike Jason Voorhees, right? I'm not worried about Jason jumping out of the friggin' lake. I am worried about some people trying to break into my house. So those films to me are my scary films. Like, that's what scares me. For the most part,
anything that could actually happen
in
real life, you know, like it.
Well, I think while we're on the subject of what you're saying, I think horror is probably the most subjective of any genre of film, because what I consider to be a horror movie, you may not. And what is a horror movie? Oh, it's got to be scary. Pee-wee's Big Adventure has the large Marge scene that scared the dog shit out of me as a kid. That's not a horror movie. Right. I think The Day After Tomorrow is one of the scariest films I've ever seen in my life, and I don't consider that a horror film. It's just, you know, but you know, a horror film has to have death. Bambi has death. You know, like, it's so hard to lock down what makes a horror film. So I completely agree with you with what you're saying.
A lot of films can be put under the horror umbrella, because the term horror is anything that instills any kind of disgust, disturb, fear, anxiety. And that could really be anything. The Disney film Frozen, you know, or Wizard of Oz, Bambi, because in Bambi incites a lot of those emotions, right? We see death, we see a child lose its mother. That's kind of scary for children.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I always
I see someone in the chat said, "Gore horrors unite."
Yes, that's
she's the gore horror of the group.
I love gore.
Yes, so do I.
Thing.
Me and Joy Toy we love our gore. We love blood, guts, and ass all over the screen. That's like my favorite genre, is shocking and disturbing. So I like those kinds of films. And then monsters. I love my creature features. Love my monster films. But,
can't argue with that either.
Yeah. So Ashley, which your favorite subgenre of horror? Besides gore, shocking, disturbing.
Yeah, I like a lot of like psychological type horror. Like, I like to try to figure out, you know, what's going on, and I like a good twist for sure.
Yeah. What about you, Ken?
Horror comedies for sure. I do like a good religious horror. You know, I think that religious horror is up there. I love Exorcist style movies. Psychological ones are up there too. But if I had to choose, I mean, like, House 1986 is my favorite horror movie. That's definitely a horror comedy. Chucky is my favorite horror franchise, which definitely is horror comedy. So I would have to say that horror comedy is probably where it lands for me. Slashers is up there too. But, I think the scariest movie ever made is The Exorcist. So I would have to say that those movies mean a lot to me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, The Exorcist. And it's so funny because younger generations are like, The Exorcist. And I'm like, when that movie came out in theaters, it caused mass hysteria. It was the one and only of its kind at the time. And you got to think about the 70s. Right? Satanic Panic. You had a lot of different things that happened. And Satanic Panic also ran into the 80s. You had a lot of occult mysticism during the 60s and the 70s, especially in films. And to come out of the gates with The Exorcist at that time, it blows me away. And I hear people say, oh, Exorcist overrated. What are you talking about?
Oh, I know.
And it's funny because I think the first Exorcist is the scariest movie ever made, but I still to this day, and I'll fight anybody on this, I think The Exorcist 3 is the best in that franchise. I think The Exorcist 3 it's a psychological slasher. It's amazing. It's got one of the best jump scares of all time. Brad Dourif's performance, George C. Scott's performance in that movie is amazing. The Exorcist 3 is close to a perfect movie for me because it has the horror, but it does have the comedy. Like when they're talking at the donut shop and he's like, "Can you smell me, Father? I haven't had a bath in a week."
And some of the greatest jump scares in that movie too.
Yeah.
The second one. The second one though is
No, the second one
missed out on the third one for so long because of the second one, because it was so horrible. We wouldn't watch the third one.
I think a lot of people did that as well.
The Exorcist 2 is the worst movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, The Exorcist 2 is definitely not a good, and I agree with you, Ashley, because that's what took me so long to watch 3. I'm like, well, I seen 2 and that was just horrific. Tell me they're gonna come back at 3. And I do love 3. I own 3. I don't own 2.
We own 1 and 3.
I own 1 and 3 as well. Fuck 2. No offense to the people who made the movie or the actors, but if you watched it, come on now. Good morning, Syria. How are you? For those of us just joining, this is Ken and Ashley Sledge from SledgeHammer Horror. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask.
I did see one in the chat that was vampires or werewolves.
Yes.
What would you choose? A vampire movie? Or now, hold on. Can we get a little bit more? Do you mean like, do we prefer a vampire or a werewolf movie more? Or are you asking which of the two we like more, a vampire or a werewolf?
I think what they're asking, because I ask that question usually later on about which would you be, vampire or werewolf, and I think that's what they're asking, but let them give us some more information on that question.
Okay.
I love movies. Do you want to know what their favorite vampire or werewolf movie is, or you're asking which one would they rather be, vampire or werewolf?
Ooh.
Hello, Monkey. How are you? Good morning. I know you want to be a vampire, Serial. Joy Toy wants to be a vampire. I'm all about the werewolf because I love eating steak and I love being outside in the nature. If you're a vampire, you were talking subgenre. Okay, so I love movies was talking subgenre.
Which one do you prefer, vampire movies or werewolf movies?
I'm gonna have to go with werewolf movies.
Yes.
Like Werewolf in London. That's an amazing movie. Yeah, definitely werewolf.
See, I think like if we're talking about the creature itself, I would go with vampires. But if we're talking about movies, I think that in my opinion, I enjoy more werewolf movies than I do vampire movies. Now, don't get me wrong. I love my Fright Night. I love Dracula. I think they're absolutely amazing. Let the Right One In, I think, is so good.
Oh my God, the original.
Yes. But
there is a remake.
I don't think that you can touch American Werewolf in London.
No.
Silver Bullet, I think, is absolutely phenomenal. Ginger Snaps, I think, is great.
Perfect.
And I think that American Werewolf in London is one of the best practical effect films I've ever seen in 36 years.
He changes into that werewolf.
That's
his hand. His hand is just
painful?
getting. Oh, it's so good.
I completely agree.
If I had what I would rather be, though, I would want to be a vampire because I wouldn't want to go through that all the time, like becoming a werewolf.
If my transformation would be like the one in American Werewolf in London, I had to go through that every day. I'm hot. God damn it. I think I'd be a vampire too.
Well, see, and I understand the transformation part. We as women go through a monthly transformation already. That is already friggin' painful. So I don't mind a little more pain and full body transformation. I'm still able to go out to the store if I want. I can spend time with my family at the park. So what? I may catch a ball in my mouth or whatever, but who cares about that? I can still go out and eat. I love food, so I would totally miss that as a vampire. As a vampire, you know, if you go by traditional lore, you can only come out at night. You've got to drink blood to survive, and I think you lose a lot. I don't know. I do love my vampire films.
Vampires are so romantic, and like that's my thing. Like I would love to be that romantic Dracula type. You know?
See, I get you. My favorite vampires are the 30 Days of Night vampires. They are vicious, bloodthirsty creatures. That when I think of vampire, that's what I think of. And I know a lot of people love like the Bram Stoker trying to Dracula, the love story, the romance, True Blood. I see nothing wrong with that. Not at all. But when I think of vampire, 30 Days a Night. That's like my favorite vampire film. What?
I work night shift anyway, so I'm already kind of like a vampire.
I do want to say real quick, not just horror said, the classic Wolfman with Lon Chaney Jr. is great.
Yep.
I love that transformation, how it's like, you know, film it. Now stop. Put stuff on. Film again. Stop.
Yep.
Great transformation.
Yeah. It's I have Lon Chaney. I have a licensed Wolfman right there up top in my collection. I love Wolfman. I love Universal Monsters. Well, before they were called Universal Monsters, the black and whites, Bela Lugosi, the Godfathers of horror, right? they helped kickstart the genre. I mean, we've had horror since like what the 1896, starting in France and Japan, before it even came to where we are. And back in the day, the black and white films, there's just something about them. I know they weren't huge back in the day, but Bela Lugosi, you got Boris Karloff, Vincent Price, you have Sir Christopher, right? So you've got so many amazing godfathers of horror that have brought forth what we have now. Like the evolution of horror is amazing, especially what's going on the last 20 years.
They're still influencing today. You just had the Invisible Man. You just had The Shape of the Water, which is totally a Creature of the Black Lagoon, you know, an homage to that. So, I mean, I think that those, even as far back as Friday the 13th, Part 6, you know, you have Jason getting resurrected with lightning, much like Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
So, I mean, without the Universal monsters, you do not have what you have today. You know, your Bride of Frankenstein, which was totally revolutionary at the time to bring her into the mix. So I think that without the Mummy, I mean, Brendan Fraser's The Mummy was amazing. The newer one with Tom Cruise, not as much, but you know, they're still loving what the Universal monsters did and the impact they had on us as kids. It's still resonating today with movies like The Invisible Man, which is obviously a modernized version of the Universal monster classic.
Yeah. Wolfman, The Shape of the Water, Anthony Hopkins and Benicio, what's his name? I can never pronounce his name, but Anthony Hopkins in Wolfman. That was a remake of the original Wolfman, right? So they're always bringing that stuff back in influential horror. Same thing with Hammer Horror, though, right? You have Hammer Horror that influenced in the United Kingdom, and I believe they were even first before we've had Bela Lugosi and Universal monsters. Del Toro,
that gothic feel. Well, I think that's something that will always be scary to me. You know, the beautiful castle with the light fog, like that gothic feel is something that it still chills me to this day. You know, the thought of walking through a gated graveyard with the light fog going to the castle, like that's just something to me I think is absolutely beautiful.
Oh, and for sure. And back then, and how they created those things, do you know that they painted that castle on a piece of film, like I'm not sure the material that they used, and that's what they put in front of the video camera that they were recording on to make it look like an actual castle. So the stuff that they did back then,
it's brilliant.
Yeah,
exactly.
Brilliant.
They took what they had, you know, and
they
made art. They made art out of it.
Yes,
they really did, which then helped influence later on with, you know, special effects, makeup that come into play later on down the road. And now we've got our CGI, but I still love practical effects.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's always good. My friend was showing off a model of the werewolf from American Werewolf in London. Oh, that's really awesome, Nether. I love American Werewolf in London. That is a great film. And Lost Boys. Serial killer loves Lost Boys. Lost Boys trump all. I love Lost Boys as well. It's such a good film. What do you guys think?
Someone in the chat say that Michael Myers is better than Jason. I just want to say the very first piece of Sledgehammer merchandise we ever made was the half hockey mask with the Sledgehammer Horror logo. Like,
that's
I
awesome.
Agree. I love Michael Myers.
She's totally Team Myers.
He's my guy.
I'm Team Jason all the way.
I'm Jason all the way as well. He's my favorite, my numero uno. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love my Halloween. And my one of my good friends, serial killer here, he is a Halloween, like it's Michael Myers. And I am Friday the 13th all the way. I love Jason.
Halloween is her favorite horror franchise.
It is. It is. I have a soft spot for Michael for sure.
Yeah.
Yep, Friday the 13th is my number one franchise. Then it goes to Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. Friday the 13th and then Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I love my cannibals. Love my cannibals.
I don't know. I mean, like, I love the first one. The other ones exist.
Another one exists. See, I love number 2, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I love the dark comedy in that one. I actually like that one.
I've always been a big fan of Texas Chainsaw 2. But Caroline Williams. It's a long story. But I thought the new the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Fede Alvarez worked on that one. Yeah, I thought that was a great film. I really enjoyed it. I know the internet took a shit all over it, but I really enjoyed it. I liked the homage that they played to Bubba. You've seen a little bit of homage towards a few other horror films from the 80s in that film. The kills were great. Like, my favorite kill is the police in the van. I don't know if anyone here hasn't seen it yet. My favorite kill.
I'll say this, like, people that were shitting on it, like, if you went into this movie looking for Oscar performances and Academy Award-winning screenplay, you were going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
But if you went into this movie looking for a massacre that happens in Texas with a chainsaw,
you got it.
You got it.
Yeah.
And I'm one of the very, very, very few that really, really, really liked the newest Leatherface film. Even though it wasn't much of a Texas Chainsaw film, I hate the ending.
Yeah.
I thought Bub should have been.
The twist was so ridiculous.
It was stupid.
It just didn't make sense. And
Bud was the perfect person to be Leatherface. Like the other kid, the cute kid.
That was like flirting with a nurse.
Yeah, that kid. Come on.
Yeah.
That kid was not.
I thought the roles were reversed in that one.
What's that?
I thought it was, when I watched Leatherface, I thought it was going to be the other kid that was going to be Bubba, because
that's what made the most sense. That's what I didn't like about that movie.
Yeah, that's why you disliked the movie.
Yeah, but I liked the movie. Like the curb stomp kill, I thought was great.
Yeah.
Like the acting, I thought was good. You had a lot of really good big name actors in it. But like that twist is what really threw me off. And people are like, it's not a Texas Chainsaw movie. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be a prequel. It's supposed to show you how this got started. So, I liked it for what it was.
See, well, my issue is they totally messed up the lore when it comes. I mean, don't get me wrong. Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise is so convoluted. I think it's one of the most convoluted lines in horror. But when you are making a movie telling a story of Bubba's past, Bubba wasn't deformed because of an accident of any means. He was deformed because that's the way he was born. So my thing is if you're going to make a movie, talking about the past of somebody, you might want to make it a little more to that point. And that's one of the biggest things I couldn't like about Leatherface, because they completely changed the lore when it came to Bubba. So that really, that I did not like that. As a huge Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan, I did watch it to give it a chance. I always give a horror movie a chance. I don't ever just, wash it off and say, no, don't ever watch it. And then, of course, the boys. I honestly thought the other boy was going to be Bubba, because his body shape as well, right? He had the demeanor of Bubba, and then all of a sudden it's this other kid, and it's like, what?
Yeah, it didn't make sense.
Hated that.
Yeah. Serial says that he likes 1 and 2 and 2003 is great, and he liked 2022 as well. I agree.
Yeah, I like the remake.
It's grown on me. It has one of my favorite scenes from any Texas Chainsaw movie. I'll say that.
Yeah.
When
he has his face.
When he has the boyfriend's face.
I love that shot so much.
That's a
when
good
he comes
one.
out and he turns around after he kills that girl, you see the feathers still going from her jacket, and he's wearing Jessica Alba's boyfriend's face. Like that's one of the best scenes of any horror movie. So I got to give it up to that one.
Yes, and I like that. And that brings me, I was watching House of a Thousand Corpses again for the millionth time the other night. And they do the same thing, paying homage to Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the sense where Otis wears the girl's father's body. Like, he puts on his whole face and body, even got his friggin' arms on him. That's a good one. Also, don't believe him. He has been fed a ton. Oh, you're talking about your cat, Timon Monkey. I got you. I was like, what are you talking about? Don't believe him. He's been fed and had tons of belly rubs. Yes, guys, if you're watching us live stream, YouTube has 2 different kinds of chats, unfortunately. And it defaults you to Top Chat. Top Chat, you only get certain people in it. I would suggest going and pressing the little arrow and going to Live Chat. Live Chat will be everybody who is live in the chat. Top Chat is only specific people. I don't know why they do that. It's annoying. Make sure you go into Live Chat instead of Top Chat. How long have you guys been on YouTube and creating what you guys create in the horror family?
October will be 2 years that we've been doing it. It was a pandemic, baby, obviously.
It really was. Yeah, we had nothing else to do. We were stuck at home together, so it's kind of what we did. We watched a lot of horror movies.
Ashley was like, "Look, it's time for you to get the hell away from me. Go get a hobby." And then I was like, "Well, guess what? You're going to do it with me."
Yeah.
So
Right.
you just sucked yourself into spending more time with me.
Yeah.
Nice. No, that's awesome. Let's sort it out. I only just started on YouTube last year, taking it seriously. So Chat of Horrors, this show was not on YouTube before. I used to do this show live over on Twitch. I don't know if you guys know what Twitch is. Twitch is where this show was. And then a few months ago, I switched and started doing it live here on YouTube. I just kind of feel there was a little bit more atmosphere for this type over here than it was over on Twitch. I always uploaded here, but I never took YouTube overly seriously. I always found that recording was hard, but lives were easy to me. And then now I'm finding that lives are they're a piece of cake, and now the recordings are getting easier.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Which is your favorite topic to cover on your channel? Like you have your most favorite topic, or you just like them all in general?
I like it when we do like top 10s, like going into our top 10 favorite whatever. Like yeah, I really like it when we do that.
Obviously I love my first horror movie. I've done almost 300 episodes now, so that's something that's really, really cool to me, but it's just me. So that's the part that really bumps me out, is Ashley's not a part of that. So
right.
I'm going to say when we do a franchise ranking.
Okay.
Because something that we do on the channel is when we do a franchise ranking or a top 10, we don't know each other's lists when we do those. Like, we separate each other. And so we always bring a guest on to do it with us. And
or a couple guests.
Yeah.
And I get canceled a lot because of my opinion.
Right. So it's always fun, though, to learn everybody else's list, and even her, like, learning where her list falls, because we'll watch the movies together, but we will not tell each other. That makes it more fun.
Yeah.
Like guessing as we go.
I guess yours a lot, though. Yeah.
I'm pretty much an open book. When I'm watching a movie, I'm pretty obvious if I'm having a good time or not. It's pretty quickly known.
It really is.
If I'm enjoying it or not.
Yeah, I do.
What was the movie we watched that I was like, when the fuck is this movie going to be over? We had to cover it for the channel.
Was it Leprechaun?
No, it was worse than Leprechaun.
Oh,
it was worse than Leprechaun.
I can't remember what it was, but there was a movie we did. It was either, it had to be a Versus, or I didn't see that coming. And I was like, this movie is fucking garbage. And we kept looking. Oh, the April Fool's Day remake.
The remake of April Fool's Day.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Like, we did a Versus on that in April.
It felt like the longest hour and a half of my life.
Oh my gosh. Like, I was so, and it has great, like Scout Taylor Compton's in it. Like,
no, it has a good lineup of people. Yeah, I would agree with you. I prefer the original of April Fool's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And watching that, I was just like, what the hell is happening here? Please end this. Like, just let a meteor come and end the movie early. I don't care.
See, and I always, when I watch something, I give about 20 minutes. If I'm not in it within 20 minutes, I'm turning it off.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, we're like that too.
Yeah,
I think the only reason we did it is because we wanted to do the Versus for the channel. But if it would have been any other reason,
if it would have been just for pleasure, it would have been turned off. Probably.
And obviously, since we covered it, we bought it. Anything that we cover on the channel, we own on physical media.
Right.
I'll never get that. I'll never get that $6 back.
$6.
No, you won't. There was, I can't even remember the movie. It was a millennial-made horror film, and it was horrific. I actually fast-forwarded through most of it. I wanted to see it because what the frig was it? It was something to do with Pitchfork or something like that. It was a low-budget film, which I love low-budget films. B grade films are like one of my favorites. But it was horrific. Like, it was they threw everything they could possibly throw into a horror movie to try to, I guess, make you connect to it. It was horrible. I'm sitting there fast forwarding. I'm like, and I'm trying to give it the 20 minutes. That's why I'm fast forwarding, because I'm trying to give it that 20 minutes before I end it. I can't even remember what it was called.
Right.
It was horrible.
It wasn't memorable at all.
Right.
No, and I'm sitting there like fast forwarding through. I'm like, hey, bring me some kills. Show me something that's going to keep me here. And it was just bad. They were throwing in things just to throw it in. And it doesn't make a good movie. Fun. No. No.
Yeah, I at least want a little bit of consistency and story when I'm watching a film. Even a slasher. Like people are like, oh, it's a mindless slasher. Give me something.
Yeah.
It's got to have something. It can't be. Yeah, I definitely get you. Have you guys seen Charlie's Farm at all?
No.
Okay. Go and look it up. 2014, Australian made. It's got a pretty nice lineup. Kane Hodder is in it. There's also what's her name? There's a blonde in it. And oh gosh. Something
Tara
Reid.
Reid.
Tara Reid, that's it. She's in it.
Okay.
It's a
Bill
great,
Moseley's in it.
Yeah. It's a great slasher from 2014. It brings you back with an 80s slasher feel. The kills are great. It's a great slasher. There's no downside about that. So if you guys have a chance to find it, if you can find it and buy it, definitely do so.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to check that out.
I'm actually looking it up right now. It's on Amazon Prime right now.
There you go. Definitely check it out.
We will definitely watch it.
It's a great film. Ashley, since you are into gore, what is your favorite gore fest film? Like, what's number one in your eyes when you think about gore?
Oh, geez. That's a hard one.
I know it is. I love gore myself, so I have a very hard time trying to pick just one.
I'm gonna have to go probably with like Saw, like the Saw gore.
Saw is it definitely has its scenes, man. Especially, have you seen Spiral?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. Where
the fingers.
the beginning part where he gets his jaw and his tongue ripped
Oh
out.
my
That is amazing.
God, yes. Yeah, no, Saw has some really crazy traps and kills in that.
Yeah.
I do love the Saw films. I love Hostel. I loved Spiral. I really did. And the scene with the fingers too, that got me. Like, I'm watching his fingers, I'm like, ugh.
Oh, yeah, yes.
The eyeball scene kills me, Serial. You know, eyeball torture just gets me. Oh my God.
I'm not a big gore guy.
He's not.
I'm such a wuss.
Yeah, you really are.
I'm the guy that's like, oh God, tell me when it's done.
I'm the one that I'm like that, but I can't turn away from it. It's like I have to,
you have to see it. You have to see it.
Yeah.
It's not, of course. Like, one of my favorites and Joy Toy's favorites is Headless. I don't know if you've seen Headless. I know for a fact Ken will not like it, so Ken, don't watch it.
Okay.
But Headless,
I will take your word for it.
Headless is a gory film. It's a gory film, but it has a story to tell about abuse as a child, and growing up with that abuse turns somebody into the killer that they are. It's very gory, and there is some sexual assault in it, but it's not the real main theme of the film. This film, Headless, was actually in the movie there's a movie called Found. Found is another really good film from 2012, $8,000 budget, indie. I would highly recommend it. Found is a young boy who, I think it was in the 5th grade, is a fan of horror and finds out that his brother is a serial killer. It tells you the story from the kid's point of view, which I love horror when it comes from that point of view. And inside that, you'll see Headless inside of it. At the time when this movie was made, Headless wasn't even real. That was just a fake movie inside of a movie.
That's even cooler.
Yeah, that is awesome.
It is. And Todd Rigney is the creator of both Headless and Found, one of the novels. And 2015, a few years later, they then make Headless because people were like, we want to see this movie Headless. Just like how Grindhouse films back in the day used to have fake trailers, right, to keep people in their seats. Found and Headless. Found did that with Headless, and pretty good. I enjoy them, but again, Ken probably will not like it.
Yeah, I'll watch that one on my own.
I do agree. It says she is so much cooler. Loves Myers and gore.
Yes, I am.
I agree. She's way cooler.
That's so funny. And yes, you love, so not just horror, love Spiral as well. I noticed a good amount of people were split on it. Yeah, I noticed that as well. I mean, I didn't see it right away. I waited to see it so I can be at home and watch it, but I enjoyed it. I didn't know if Chris Rock was able to pull that off, because I've never really seen Chris in that kind of serious film before.
Right.
I think he did an amazing job.
He did, yeah, he definitely did. I felt like his comedy we had talked really landed in that movie for sure. And yeah, I think that he did really well.
Yeah.
I actually liked it a lot more on second viewing, because when I watch a Saw movie, I always try to guess what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And this one was pretty easy to guess
It was.
Yeah.
who the killer was and what was going on.
He did know pretty like right away. You knew pretty much who it was.
But I think that it's a fantastic movie if you're going into it looking as a film. As a Saw movie, it kind of bummed me out because, like I said, I kind of figured out the twist pretty quickly.
Right.
But I think Chris Rock is great. I would not slap him on stage at the Oscars. That's for damn sure. But I think that the movie in general, his comedy landed, but when he needed to be serious in the film, he was able to be serious and make it work. So, and I think that hot wax kill was gnarly as shit too.
That hot wax kill was good.
Yeah. So I very, very much enjoy Spiral. I would like to see a continuation of that. I know that they're going to be doing another Saw movie, Saw 10, which takes place in between the events of either 2 and 3. So we're going to have John Kramer back.
Yeah.
I love John Kramer.
Yeah, me too. So, and I know they're going to be doing a Spiral TV show, if I remember hearing correctly. They're going to be doing an episodic TV show.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I'm in. Anything Saw, I'm pretty much in. That's my son's favorite. I'm not trying to toot our own horn or pat ourselves on the back, but I was able to have Frankie G, that played Xavier in Saw 2, as a guest on my first horror movie. And this was last year, right around this time, because Kenny's birthday is May 9th.
Yeah.
And he's a huge Saw fan. And for his birthday, Frankie G sent him a video message that was like, if you don't listen to your dad, I'm going to come at you with that baseball bat.
That's awesome.
Super nice guy.
Yeah, Frankie G is one of the coolest, sweetest, nicest guys in the world. So that really upped my feeling of the Saw franchise too. I've always been a huge fan, but that made it even more. And the fact that he took time out to send my son a video message was really nice. It meant a lot to our family.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And that's really, really nice. Another chorus is saying, you watch Noriko's Dinner Table, which is a sequel to The Suicide Club by Sion Sono, and I'm glad I gave it more than 20 minutes. I was on the verge of sleeping until near the end and had some great scenes. Oh, very cool, Nether. Very cool.
I love that.
Yeah, if you can hold out, and hopefully
sometimes it does.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does get better. Sometimes it does. Welcome back, Mitch. Your lurk is off. It's so sad that the longer a horror franchise goes, the more likely it is to become silly. The longer it goes, it's gonna become a fun franchise afterwards. Like Halloween. 1 and 2 are my favorite, and number 3, I love number 3, but 1 and 2 are my favorites, and I watch 1 and 2 as one film. Where it does get a little funny down the road.
Yeah, the timeline is pretty wonky for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the most convoluted.
Halloween 6 is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
I have a special place in my heart for that one.
Like people
karate.
No, that's Resurrection.
Or Resurrection.
Yeah,
which one
I'm talking Halloween 6.
Halloween 6, yeah.
See, like Resurrection, at least Resurrection is entertaining.
Yeah.
Like at least I can laugh and get entertained out of that movie. Halloween 6, I just want to bash my face into a door when that movie's on. Like I cannot get into Halloween 6 at all. I don't know. I think but I'm sorry, ReAnimateHer. I think Halloween 2 is bad. Really bad.
I like Halloween 2.
I think
really?
That it's boring. The only good thing is it has really good kills in it. I think it has some of the best kills in the whole franchise. But overall, the movie is just so slow and boring. And
it is. I will have to give you, it is a bit slow. It definitely is. And but I do like watching 1 and 2 as one full film, where instead of watching them separately, because it's one full film, 1 and 2. I don't see Halloween, the new Halloweens, I don't like them. I find that Halloween Kills is basically Halloween 2, but updated graphics and a little bit more kills. Everything is basically the same in Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2, and then Halloween Kills, it's basically the same thing with just updated graphics. maybe instead of Ben Tramer being the mob, we've got some mentally handicapped person the mob is going after, right?
I hate that.
Yeah, I don't like that part.
That
either.
scene lasted way too long.
It did.
And as somebody, as a couple who is very, very big on the autism spectrum,
Yes.
it's very, very prevalent in our family. I don't want to get too much into that. That's
For
a little
sure,
more
for sure.
personal.
Yep.
But
Not a problem.
that scene really, really bothered us. And
Yeah.
look, I get what they're doing for the entertainment, but you didn't have to make it last that long.
Mm,
With
I would have to
I-
agree with
Just
you.
the feeling, like how you felt for the guy.
I seen certain family members in that scene.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like
no.
I'm so scared and I don't know why these people want to hurt me. And
Exactly.
it
Yeah.
genuine, you know, it and how the fuck, I'm sorry, how do you look at that guy
I think he's Michael
and
Myers.
think that's Michael Myers?
I don't know.
What in your
That was
brain?
ridiculous, really ridiculous.
Yeah.
I completely
Yeah.
agree with you. I honestly do not like any of the new Halloweens. I don't like what they turned Michael Myers into. Michael Myers is now Jason Voorhees. He's no longer the shape. He's no longer the boogeyman. He is now some in-your-face, over-the-top killer, which has always been Jason Voorhees. I don't really consider the new Halloweens to even be part of the Halloween franchise, but that is me. I have no love for the new franchise. So yes, I have seen Audition. It's a really great film. Have you guys seen Audition? Another chorus was wondering if you guys have seen the 90s Japanese horror film.
Japanese film.
Yes, Audition.
I think I watched that one.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I'm thinking of a different film. I'm thinking of the one where it's the two girls and they grew up in an orphanage and they play music. What am I thinking of?
I don't know.
Audition. Well, Audition is it. You know what? Let's go and. Oh, I don't know if I can play the trailer here on YouTube. But it's a really good one. Anyways, this guy, they are auditioning people, and he's also looking for a wife. It's a little bit of a weird story, and he comes upon this young girl, and yeah, she causes some crazy kills. I don't want to ruin it, so I'm not going to go into any further than that. I would highly suggest checking out Audition. It can be a little slow. You will have to have subtitles, but it is a really good film, and it's got some really good kills.
Okay. Yeah. I love when we get new movie suggestions.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and yeah, wife to be auditioned. So basically, it's an audition, and they're auditioning females and talking to them and getting information from them. And yeah, I check it out. It's got some good kills in it. Nothing to warn you over for triggers. None of that. It's a Japanese horror, so they don't really have a lot of that in their films.
Right.
I'm thinking of The Perfection. That's what I'm thinking of. I'm sorry.
Oh yes, I know that film. Was it on Netflix? I think it was a Netflix film, right? Yeah.
Netflix or Prime, one of the two.
One of them. I thought that was a good one.
If I move, I'll shit.
Oh.
That movie. That
Yes.
part really bothers me.
And Deadwalk, I would have to agree with you. Headless wasn't just gore for the sake of being gore. It was an integral part of the story, and I will agree with you on that one. I'm just going over some of the, as we went on the Halloween rant here, going through some of the questions. So Mitch wants to know.
I really don't have room to talk shit. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've been drinking out of a Michael Myers mug because that's my wife's favorite franchise. So to be fair, she's been drinking out of a Chucky mug because
yes.
Child's Play is my favorite horror franchise.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right.
So look, I get it. I personally, like, if we're going by what I think is the best horror franchise,
I would say Scream.
I'm going to say Scream or The Evil Dead.
Yeah.
I think those two.
Yeah,
I just
Evil
think
Dead.
because the timeline is so,
Yeah.
it's right on point.
I
Scream.
like Scream 1 and I like Scream 2022. I enjoy both of those films. I'm not a huge Ghostface fan, but I do enjoy the Scream films, and I did really enjoy 2022. I thought that was awesome.
So did I.
I thought it was great.
And obviously, with Psycho being one of my favorite horror movies as well, there's a lot of Psycho references in every single Scream film.
Oh, yes, there is. Definitely.
Really, really cool. But Child's Play, I think, is just, like, for the longevity that it has, and, like, you thought it was going to go, like, when you got to see it at Chucky, you were like, okay, it's going off the rails. but then they pulled it back in with Curse of Chucky,
Yes.
Cult of Chucky, the new Chucky TV series. They made it scary, but it still got the comedy to it. Like, I just think that Child's Play is just, to me, it's perfect. I love that franchise. Even Seed of Chucky, it's absolutely, to me, the worst in the franchise, but the kills in it make up for how over the top a lot of it is.
Yeah, I love the Child's Play franchise. It's a fun movie. I didn't mind the remake.
I
but
love it.
I think if the film would have done better if it didn't have Chucky in it, like Chucky's name in it. If they did a Good Guy Dolls Gone Bad or something like that, something other than, I think that movie would have done really well, because I actually I to be honest, I did put that film off because I was like, no, it's not Brad Dourif, and look at that goddamn Chucky doll. That's some fucking bullshit right there. But, I said, you know what? It's not the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, so I'm actually going to watch this one. I sat down in 2019, I believe, and I watched the new Child's Play. And I was very impressed with it. Again, I think if they changed the name and kept it in the universe like Spiral did, like Spiral kept it in the Saw universe but didn't name it Saw, I think it would have been so much better with people than landing it as a Child's Play film. I thought it was well done.
I've said this numerous occasions. If they would have named that movie Buddy from the world of Child's Play, it would have landed so much better.
And people would have been more open to it,
Yeah.
I think
because
so
it's
as
not
well.
Red Wolf, it's not the possession doll.
Yep.
No, it's
So-
not.
And
It
then
has
they
nothing to
could
do with
continue.
voodoo.
Yeah.
They could have continued, because
You
now
could have the Buddy Bear, and there could have been
there could have been
more.
Buddy Bear. That's the sequel, because they can't use even if they wanted to make a sequel to that movie, that studio does not own the rights to the name Child's Play 2. So they
No.
could never make Child's Play 2.
No.
So if they would have done Buddy from the world of Child's Play, then they could have had it with the Buddy Bear or Buddy 2. They could have easily continued the franchise, and they wouldn't have pissed off Don Mancini, because that's
Right.
another thing. Like, Don Mancini was so against it. He's done every single Child's Play. It's not like
Right.
Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, where you got somebody different doing every movie. Child's Play has been Don Mancini's baby from the beginning, and he begged them, don't do it, don't do it. They did it anyway. And like I said, I love the movie, but to me, I just think if they would have named it Buddy from the world of Child's Play, you could have made Don Mancini happy. You could have had sequels. You could have continued the story, which I thought was
think
great.
so as well. They should have named it something other than, and Serial's like, it was not Chucky. That's the problem. I agree with you, Serial. It was not Chucky. It's a completely different story. It's about an AI chip that goes off the friggin' rails, and it's not Brad Dourif. It's not the look of Chucky either. It was completely different. Yeah, you had Andy and some similarities to Child's Play, but that's where you could have kept it in the universe, right? Could have kept it in the universe instead of naming it that.
I'm glad that they didn't go that way though with it, like the Brad Dourif, because they couldn't have found anybody to replace him that anybody would have. It probably would have landed even worse if they would have tried to do that storyline. Yeah.
And I do respect them for taking it and making it their own. And to be honest with you, I like the Chucky Andy dynamic in the remake more than the original, because the original is really just Chucky trying to take over Andy's body, but in the remake, this is Chucky. He loves Andy, and in his mind, he's doing what's right by Andy by killing these up until the end.
Right.
You could really say that Chucky is the protagonist of the film. Like, he's doing what he can to protect somebody he's imprinted on. He's like a parent trying to overprotect his kid. He's imprinted on him.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. He's killing I don't think it's great that he killed the cat or killed that douchebag stepdad.
Yeah.
But he's doing in his mind what he can to protect his his family.
Yes.
So that's what I love about it, is he's doing in his mind what is right to protect his family.
Yeah. I really enjoyed I really enjoyed the remake, and I really enjoyed the TV series. I do have a question from Mitch the Ripper. We're going back to the Scream part. Mitch says, do you ever think that Sidney Prescott and her family have pissed off so many people that maybe they earned their homicides in the Scream franchise?
I mean, like, if Sidney would have just died at the beginning, none of this would be happening.
Exactly.
A lot of people's lives would be saved if she would have just died.
So many lives would have been saved.
It's just hard to say because, Sydney's trying to save her own life. She's really done nothing wrong.
It's really,
I don't know. Like, that's one of those tricky questions. Like, I love Scream 2022, and I love the direction they took. And I think I'm in the minority here that's really bummed that they're going to continue this.
I
think
wish
they
they wouldn't
ended it-
continue it. I
They
prefer
ended it
everyone
well.
to die.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, like, my thing is, like, it was perfectly ended. Like, you had Courtney Cox, Gail Weathers saying, I'm not going to write a book about this. I'm going to let them die in anonymity, and we're just going to move on from this and act like they never existed.
Yeah.
Like, it was the perfect way to end this. And we talked about how horror movies eventually get goofy. I'll watch the next Scream.
Right.
It's
of
going to
course I
happen.
will as
I
well.
will watch it. But I think that Scream 2022 was maybe they'll surprise me and they'll come out with something. I trust them to follow Wes Craven's vision, because
If they bring Sue back, like,
I'll be pissed.
Oh my
I'll be
gosh.
fucking pissed. if they
Yeah,
bring
they
Stu back.
can't.
I love
He's
him.
dead.
but it doesn't make any sense.
He's dead.
I will say this. We just went to a convention recently and Matthew Lillard was there.
Uh-huh.
And he is one of the most genuine,
He's very-
kind men in the world. Like, his line got capped. Like, his line was so big, they capped the line. They stopped people. He's seen that. He got up, went to the back of the line, and high-fived everybody.
Wow,
Just
that's
so,
nice.
and through the line, high-fiving and hugging people just because he felt bad they capped his line so early. So that's the type of man that Matthew Lillard
He
is.
cares about his fans.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
really cares.
I've-
This is not
I've
a
heard
paycheck
that.
to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard that. I've seen some stories on Instagram of some people taking pictures of them at the con with Matthew Lillard. I like his character. I like his character. I also liked Skeet. I like both their characters in the original Scream. Hold
Yeah.
on here. Just scroll up here. I see Serial Killer was saying Scream 1 and 2 are good. Scream 2022 copied Scream 2. I don't really remember Scream 2, to be honest with you. Again, it's not one of my favorite franchise, so I don't watch it over and over. But I do remember 1. And I Love Movies wants to know, are we looking forward to the new Firestarter?
Yes. Yes.
So much.
I cannot wait.
Yeah, well, I'm interested to see what they did with it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm definitely interested to see. I'm not a huge fan of remakes. I will watch them. I'm not going to bitch about them. I'm loving the new horror that we have been getting in 2022. Like, 2022 is the year of horror. We've gotten a lot of new horror, and I friggin' love that. I just recently seen X for the 4th time. And
Yes.
I love that film. I love the cinematography. I love everything about that film and what they did with it. I'm really
Which we're
enjoying
hoping
it.
that with that film we'll get more, original films because, of all the remakes, like maybe that one will kickstart.
Well, and I think that you got X, which was super successful for very little promotion.
Amazing,
And I can tell you this right now, one of the best films of 2022 is going to be The Black Phone.
Oh my God, I cannot wait to see The Black Phone. Ethan Hawke. Like, it's going to be the year of Ethan Hawke, too, because he's in numerous movies that are coming out this year. And I just
I have a
watched the
very good
second
friend
trailer.
that saw a screening of The Black Phone right before they pushed it back to June 24th. And they told me, it's a husband and wife, they told me, they were like, dude, it's one of the best films we've seen in a lot. And these are very, very influential people in the horror genre.
Yeah.
And they were like, you guys be ready for this. This blew us away. So we're hoping that with the success of X, you got Men that's coming out that looks like it's going to be really good. You get The Black Phone. Maybe these original horror movies are going to push us back into getting more original horror. I don't mind a remake here and there, as long as they do like Child Play, Evil Dead.
Or they take the bones of it but make it their own. Yeah.
Firestarter looks like it's going to be its own total original story. I see a lot of her in a high school. It looks like it's not going to be completely dependent on the original. It looks like it's taking the bones, like Ashley just said, that's perfectly worded, taking the bones of the original and putting your own skin over top of it. That's what I want to see in a remake. I've already seen the original. Impress me with something new around the same story.
I like reimaginings. I love it where they take an already made story and then put their own stuff into it. I like seeing that. Like 2013 Evil Dead that Fede Alvarez did. It wasn't an actual full-on remake of Evil Dead, and it blew me away. Like, I love Evil Dead. And I seen that in opening nights in theaters, and I went in with like, okay, let's see what happens, and I was totally blown away. I fucking loved every minute of The Evil Dead 2013. That was awesome, and I don't consider that a remake. I consider that more of a reimagining than a remake. A remake is usually a carbon copy with little bits of things changed here and there, but reimaginings I can really get behind. And Joy, I agree with you, Fresh. Go ahead, sorry.
I was just saying that I agree with you. I've already, like, the Psycho remake, everybody's like, oh, that movie sucks. It doesn't. It's the exact same thing as the original. If you don't like it, it's because you've already seen it done better. But I don't think you can say a movie sucks that's an exact copy of the original. No, it's unnecessary.
It is unnecessary. And I will tell you that I did not like the remake of Psycho. Vince Vaughn did not do it for me. Anthony Perkins, he's that's it. That's for me. Yeah. Vince Vaughn was the wrong person to do in the remake of Psycho. Like I watched that even before I really knew who Vince Vaughn was, because this is back in the time where he still wasn't as big. That was one of my biggest things on why I could not get behind the remake of Psycho is Vince Vaughn. I think he was the totally wrong guy to play Psycho.
I'm the opposite. I loved Vince Vaughn in that movie.
Did you?
Like, to me, Vince Vaughn is a total, like, I never watched any Vince Vaughn comedies until way later on. Like, the first two Vince Vaughn movies I ever watched were Domestic Disturbance, where he's the evil stepdad opposite John Travolta, and then Psycho. So to me, like, it's still weird for me to see Vince Vaughn in comedies. Like, when I see Vince Vaughn in the comedy, I'm still like, man, this is weird to me, because to me, he's that evil guy.
Yeah, okay. I see your point. I've seen him in comedies.
So to me, I don't get me wrong. He has nothing on Anthony Perkins. Nothing.
I don't think anybody could have played Anthony Perkins.
Anthony Perkins is this handsome, quirky, dorky, awkward guy. He was the perfect Norman Bates. Like, the absolute nobody could have touched that. But if I went into the remake of Psycho, never seeing the original, I wouldn't hate the movie. Yeah. I'd be like, hey, this is pretty decent. But it's unfair, because I think that's the worst part about remakes, is because we are just in there the whole time picking apart what the original did better.
For sure.
And there are movies, I think, that the remakes, that even though they're different, are not very good. I thought the Poltergeist remake was not very good. I thought the Pet Sematary remake was not very good.
Gosh.
But and that's in no part due to acting or direction. It's just you're doing something that I just feel is unnecessary and shouldn't be done. With that said, this whole thing started with, yes, we're very excited about Firestarter.
I'm interested in seeing Firestarter. I have read a little bit into it, so it's not a full-on remake. So I am interested in seeing it. And Joy Toy, I will have to agree with you. The movie Fresh. I don't know. Have you guys seen the movie Fresh yet?
Yes,
I've
seen it. Ashley has not seen it yet.
Okay, so I won't say much about it.
Well, I think Fresh, if I'm a young woman in the dating scene, Fresh scares the shit out of me.
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely. Like, I love cannibal films.
Terrifying.
Love cannibal films. They're one of my favorites, and I've always been saying we need to have more upper high scale cannibal films. We had Parents back in the day. I don't know if you guys remember the movie Parents. We had Parents, which was 50s, 60s family cannibalism. But majority of the time we have backwoods cannibals, Wrong Turn, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, yada yada, and the list goes on and on. And then we have films like Cannibal Ferox, Cannibal Holocaust, but I really liked Fresh because it was new. It was a different take. It was high class society. I don't really want to ruin it because you haven't seen it, so I'm not going to go any further than that.
It's still on the watch list for her to watch. Just sometimes that we'll go. What we'll like to do. I'll watch a horror movie. She'll watch a horror movie, because the one thing that's hard about being a horror fan now, and please don't take this as I'm bitching. I'm not. But there are so many horror movies out there right now that are streaming, and that's a great thing. It's a great thing.
Yeah.
But you can't watch them all.
Right.
No.
So we'll watch separate ones when we have time, and because she works at night. My wife is not only amazing and beautiful and smart and funny, she's a real life superhero. She's a respiratory therapist. She's been fighting COVID she's been fighting the bad thing ever since it started. And so we don't get the chance to hang out as much. So there are nights where she's at work and she'll watch something. I'm at home and I'll watch something. And if it's something that we're both super, super high on, we'll watch it together and do something that way. If it's, and we're pretty, I would know, even if I dislike something, I'll know if it's something she'll be into, and vice versa. So as a couple that really, really loves horror, when we do get together, when we do have days or nights to spend together, we'll watch a movie, but we also have kids. So like last night, we took our girl to see Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Our son was like, no, I'm good. And our baby's a little too little for that. But I just feel like it's very important to take that separate time to watch horror movies too, to kind of dissect it. That way, one thing I'm really bad at is, even after 17 years, I'm constantly searching for her approval. So like, as we're watching a movie, I'll be looking at her like, does she like this? Should I write a note about this? Is this something she's into? So it is nice to sometimes not watch a horror movie as a job and just watch it to enjoy it, not taking timestamps. Do I want to talk about this scene? Do I want to talk about this scene? To take the time to sit together and watch a horror movie, not for work, but for fun and a date and to have fun. So I think that's the big thing with us. There's certain movies she's seen that I haven't, and I've seen that she hasn't, but Fresh is on our list, as well as Headless and Charlie's Farm. I've got those written down here for the list.
That's awesome. I would love to hear what you guys think about them, because those are some of my favorites. Serial Killer is going back to the Psycho theme. Serial Killer thinks Neil Patrick Harris could pull off a Norman Bates.
Ooh, Doogie.
I think so as well. I think he could. He's got that diversity in him to do things like that.
And he's that clean cut, handsome. He can be awkward. Like I think Neil Patrick Harris would be great in that role. But I'm still petitioning the two big roles I'm petitioning for that I really want to see happen. I would love to see Devon Sawa play Freddy Krueger. I think Devon Sawa could crush the Freddy Krueger role. And my big one that I want to see more than anything, and I would fund this if I could, and that is Kathy Bates playing Mrs. Voorhees in a Friday the 13th remake. I think Kathy Bates as Mrs. Voorhees would just be so intense. And
I think Kathy Bates would do a good Pamela. I do. I would love to see a new Friday the 13th actual film, but there are tons of amazing indie horror films. I don't know if you guys seen Jason Rising yet.
Yep.
I love what they did with the zombie Pamela. Also what Womstomp Films has been doing with the Never Hike Alone series and Ghost Jason. I'm really excited for Never Hike Alone 2, but I would like to see a Friday the 13th. I'd like to see a Friday the 13th film go into the backstory of Camp Crystal Lake and why is it a death curse. I want to know, how did Crazy Ralph know a lot before the movie? I'd love to see a backstory all together with like Crazy Ralph. And
have you seen Roseblood yet?
No, I haven't. It's on my list. Roseblood is on my list.
I cannot recommend that enough.
Yes.
And I will say this, non-spoiler, it is on YouTube, guys, if you haven't seen it. Lar Park Lincoln comes back and reprises her role as Tina from Friday the 13th, Part 7. And there is a very, very cool twist ending to it. And it is fun to watch the ending take shape. So I can't recommend Roseblood enough. I think if you're a fan of the Friday the 13th or Halloween franchise, you would really, really like Roseblood, a Friday the 13th fan film. Again, I cannot recommend it enough. We were glued to our seats, just like Scream Legacy, another fan film that's on YouTube right
Scream
now.
Legacy was definitely good. I liked it.
What I love about the fan films is they do it for the right reasons. There's no paycheck coming along with it. They're not
their love of the movie.
Yes, they're going to make it. They're fans like us, so they're going to do the fan service that we want to see, the things we want to see in these films. And Roseblood definitely captured a lot of nostalgia for me as a big Friday the 13th Part 7 fan. To see Tina come back and Dr. Cruz comes back in a way. So you got to check out, especially you, when you text me after you watch it, please, and let me know what
I
you
will.
think. Everybody in the chat, hit me up on social media. Let me know what you think of Roseblood.
I will.
I'm a huge fan of this fan film.
Yep. I have a lot of indie films that I back as well. Roseblood was not one of them because I didn't have the funds to back that one, but I have backed. There's Jason Rising by James Sweet, Red Crow Films. There was Never Hike Alone, Never Hike in the Snow. Friday the 13th Vengeance. Yes. Oh, Vincent DeSanti is awesome.
Yeah. I seen you had him. I was lucky. I was lucky enough to have him as a guest on my first horror movie, but to also watch you have a whole conversation with him was so cool. Like I was at work, you know, and I work at a auto parts store in my area, and I had it playing as we were going, and people are in there like, "Where's the music?" I was like, "Shut the hell up. This is more important."
Vin is awesome. I've had him on Coffee Chat of Horrors several times, going back to the original Never Hike Alone.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that he has such a love for Friday the 13th and just a love for horror and what he has sacrificed just to bring Never Hike Alone to fruition. Jessie Cat, thank you very much for becoming a ghoul over here on YouTube. I hope you're doing well. For those of you just joining, this is Ken and Ashley Sledge from Sledge Horror. Here, Sledge Hammer Horror on YouTube. Exclamation point guest in the chat. We'll give you all of their social media and you can check out their YouTube. They have some really awesome stuff. I'm also in one of their My First Horror Movie,
which is it's coming out. I can tell you exactly when it's coming out. Our episode will premiere May 11th, 10 days from now.
May 11th,
you will be able
guys.
to find out. Yes.
May 11th.
Subscribe to the channel.
There's their
I hate doing
YouTube.
that shameless plug.
Definitely plug the shit out of it. Right there in the chat, guys. SledgeHammer Horror is their YouTube. Their Twitter is there. Their Instagram is there. I actually got to sit down with Ken and we recorded My First Horror Movie. And so make sure you guys check it out.
Yes. And something else I got to be really braggadocious about. Anybody that knows me knows I'm a huge horror fan. Huge horror fan. But I think the perfect movie that's ever been made, the only perfect movie ever made, is Pee-wee's Big Adventure. And I'm so lucky that Mark Holton, who played Francis in Pee-wee's Big Adventure, he played in Leprechaun. I have become friends with him, and we are going to be doing a My First Horror Movie together.
Nice.
So I'm so excited about it. And it's something that, like, if I could tell 12-year-old me about this, like, he'd be pissing his pants, you know? And it's so cool, like, how lucky I feel like we are. You know, we've made amazing friends like yourself, all because of horror. And it's amazing how inclusive this community is, like, with all the problems that are going on in the world right now with political issues, gender issues,
everything.
In the horror community, we don't care if you're black, white, Democrat, Republican, LGBTQ. The minute that you're like, hey, I like Nightmare on Elm Street, she's going to be like, hey, welcome to primetime, bitch. What do you want to talk about?
Exactly.
You know, like,
absolutely.
And that's something that for us growing up in a very, very closed-minded red community, we just love the fact that we can have this escape to people that are so open-minded and caring and loving of each other. And being able to be guests on podcasts with you, you know, like this means the world to us. Like, it's a dream come true to be able to hang out with people. We come from a place that has literally more ears of corn in a square mile than you do people in the town. And,
this is true.
You know, we don't get to do this a lot with friends here.
Yeah.
So to be able to make all the friends we've made doing this, that means more to us than anything. Like,
absolutely.
Hanging out on a Sunday morning with you, talking about our favorite things in the horror world, like, this is the coolest shit in the world to us.
I completely agree. I don't have anybody in my area that I can sit and chat horror with. I mean, a serial killer and Monkey Van Meowerton, they live in my province, but we are so far apart. Like, our province is so huge that it takes about an hour and change for me just to go and see Serial or Monkey. So to
Right.
sit and be able to talk horror to people around the world, because I have friends all over the place, it's really awesome. And to see the horror community come together, I mean, all communities have their rotten apples. I mean, every community has them. But the fact that we don't let that destroy what we have built here on the internet as a horror community. And I think it's awesome to sit down and talk to people.
The good thing about this community is the only thing we're united against are the douchebags in our own community.
The gatekeepers.
And so the minute, because one of my biggest pet peeves, and people that watch the channel at all know this about me, are when people comment, whether it be your video, her video. We have a lot of female influencer friends.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, you're so beautiful. Yeah, they're also smart and talented and hardworking, and doing what we all do is not easy.
No,
we don't just come out here and just do it. There's writing, there's editing, there's everything that comes along with it. And the very first thing you talk about is how pretty this person is. Like, those are the people that really irritate me, because nobody comes on my videos and talk about how fucking pretty I am. That's what it's jealousy coming out.
It's jealousy.
I don't care that people call my wife beautiful.
Oh, of course. Beautiful. I get what you're saying.
I have plenty of men that DM my wife, and it doesn't bother me one bit, because it's appropriate. If she wants to talk to, if someone's a fan of hers and they want to talk to her, that's fine with me. I love that. That means that someone looks up to my wife like I do.
Yeah.
But once it gets inappropriate, that's when I get mad. And it's not because I'm overprotected or insecure. It's because it's disrespectful to my wife.
Yeah. And it is. And, my biggest pet peeve within this community is the testing that we as women go through to test our horror knowledge. It happens quite often, especially live streaming. I live stream indie horror games, and one of my biggest favorite games is Friday the 13th. And I'll have people that will come right out and literally test me on that franchise. And it's like, are you kidding me? Like, that is my thing.
I never get that. You know what I mean? Like,
no,
and that's so insulting, because not only is my wife a part of the horror genre, I have 2 little girls that someday may be, and you don't have to be a dad or a husband to respect women. Like, you don't have to find a wife or find, to be a decent human being, you don't have to be married or have kids. And it's just really irritating, because not only is it my wife, not only you, who's a friend of mine, a lot of the females that are in this genre are very good friends of mine. And it does bother them. Like,
we just have to prove ourselves. Like, girls can't like horror. We have to be prissy and whatever else. Like,
I agree.
Bullshit.
I agree. But and it's not just the horror industry either. It's everything that we do. Whether you like action films or you like comedy, or we're always judged as, oh, you guys gotta love your romantic comedies because you're female. Yeah. I fucking hate romantic comedies. I hate romantic films. I am not a romantic type of watching person.
And I'm the opposite.
I know, right? You love them.
Like, it's just it's irritating to me that we still live. It's funny, because it's like, that they can vote too.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I know women are allowed to vote.
Jobs.
Things that men can do. Like, this is crazy world we're living in now. Like, son of a bitch. It's so irritating. Like, we all like what we like. That's another thing that really bothers me. Like, you started doing SledgeHammer Horror and then your wife got involved. No. Yeah. This was her brainchild. She's the one that started it. I'm just the extrovert of the relationship that wanted to be in front of the camera. Like, I'm so proud of my wife. And
I'm proud of you too.
She's one of the biggest, best horror minds. If you watch any episode of Versus that we do, or didn't see that coming that we do, she wrote that. The jokes that are in it, everything. That's awesome. She wrote those. Like, I'm a fucking parrot. I read what she writes and I say it. Like, so you're quizzing her when it should be, she knows more about this shit than I do. Yeah. And I can say that about you. I can say that about What a Ghoul Wants, not just horror, Sweet and Spooky, Haunted Hippie. These women are amazing, smart minds in the horror community. Treat them as such. When you watch their video, the first thing that shouldn't come out of your mouth is, wow, you're beautiful. Wow, I appreciate the hard work you did in the background, learning everything you possibly could about this horror genre and putting it into a video, and all the editing that you did and the writing you did. How about that first? Hey, you're a good looking lady. We know that. We've seen you. She's a beautiful lady. We know that. We've seen her. You guys don't have to hear it all the time. It's a bigger compliment to talk about the hard work you do in the horror community. And I, for one, thank you. And anybody watching, if you're a female in the horror community, thank you for kicking ass, and please continue to do so.
Thank you for being so friggin' awesome, Ken. I appreciate it, and so do rest of the women in the horror community.
Yeah.
No, it really is. It's nice to see that we're not just a pretty face or a good-looking face in front of the camera. It's the fact that we have the same love for horror that our male counterpart has, if not sometimes more, depending on the film, right? And you know, it's definitely sad to see that a lot of the times we don't get taken seriously.
Oh.
And they don't acknowledge the writing. I produce this whole show myself. It's contacting the guests that come on the show. I edit, I do the social media, I do all the promos, I do all my artwork. I do everything myself. And it's not often I get, oh my God, you know, that's a lot of work. You did a really great job on that. It's you are really pretty.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
It's despicable. It is despicable. And I'm sorry, like I feel bad that's what you guys get. You know, and it's just like, so what if they weren't good looking? Would you still be watching their videos? Like, are you lit? And then the other thing about this that really bothers me is you have the people that are like, I'm a fan of yours, so you owe me something now. If I comment, you better comment back to me. Right. You know, I have friends that go through that stuff, and it's like, dude, who raised you?
Yeah, like we all have lives. Like, we love anybody that wants to talk about horror, or anybody that wants to comment or anything, you know. But sometimes you miss a comment. Sometimes, you know.
And not just that, but if you want to comment and talk about horror or ask a question or something, but like I've had guys asking her on dates. I'm like, that's my wife. Like that irritates me. It's not because I'm insecure. Like I said, we've been together 17 years. I trust her.
Yeah.
It's very disrespectful to, you know, my wife, who you know is married. Yeah. So that's where I kind of draw the line.
Oh, for sure. And I definitely understand that. And as a female in the industry, the amount of DMs that I had to put my stuff on, I had to protect my DMs. I had to put them on lockdown because of the things that people would send or the messages they would send. It's like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, who raised you?
Yeah.
Like, I goddamn, like my mom, God rest her soul, would literally come back from the dead and choke me to death if I talked to women or sent them pictures of my private parts without, you know what I mean? Like, you've been married 17 years. I know better than any man. No woman wants to see that shit. Like,
not unless we ask for it. Don't just send it out randomly because nobody wants to see it. But you know, just ask first. You know, maybe that person's into it. I'm not gonna, you know, judge somebody, but don't just send it out. Don't just say snapshot and just send it out to people. No, we don't want to see it. If it's asked,
there's never been a time where a guy's done that and a girl's been like, "Oh, sweet."
Yeah,
not in my life, not in my world. They were just talking about the movie Zombie Ass. I don't know if you guys have seen this movie Zombie Ass. I haven't. I'm gonna go and watch it because I'm a huge trauma fan, and Poltergeist Night of the Chicken Dead is one of my favorite traumas. But they were just talking about Zombie Ass in the chat. I don't know if I want to see it. I don't know. I've heard it was really gross. But I'll put it on my list because I do love trauma, and I do love my Poltergeist Night of the Chicken Dead. That was fun.
Lloyd Kaufman is a national treasure.
He is. He really is. He's done a lot for the independent horror genre. But from going back with him and Mike Hertz starting Trauma Entertainment back in the day in the 70s, and then still seeing where they are today and still creating films. I know you have been. I know. I'll watch it. I will watch it. Going back to the Friday the 13th Vengeance. If you guys haven't seen it, it's free on YouTube. Definitely go and check it out. CJ Graham is Elias Voorhees. We actually get to see Jason's dad. They talk a little bit about it. But I would definitely go and check it out. CJ Graham did play Jason in Jason Lives. Is another one of my favorite Jasons. So definitely check it out if you haven't.
Peter Anthony did Vengeance as well. So the guy is a Friday the 13th. He's a fucking encyclopedia on Friday the 13th. The guy's knowledge is inspiring. So Peter Anthony is one of the coolest dudes in the world. I cannot recommend you checking out his fan films enough because he does it for the right reasons.
Yes, and that's what I really love independent films because you can really see. I'm not going to take away from like Craven and Carpenter, but for independent films with very little budget, very little of anything, and you can see the love that they put into their filmmaking for their film because they love the genre, they love that movie. Vincent DeSanti, James Sweet, you can see the work that they put in and the love for the franchise that they have. Same thing with I can't remember the family's name, but it's a family-made fan film of Halloween, and it was done with an iPhone. And mom, dad, and the children made this Halloween fan film. It's on YouTube, and it was awesome. It was great. Obviously, not violent and bloody like the film, but it was great to see a family come together and create a horror from one of their favorite films.
Yeah.
And to see it come together and all done on a cell phone. Right?
That's awesome.
So it's really cool to see. That's what I love about indie films.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we there's a film on Amazon Prime right now called Killer Pinata, which is super dope. And I was lucky enough to be cast in the sequel that is going to be coming out hopefully in October. And yeah, it was an experience that I'm so proud of. I can't talk too much about it, obviously. I feel, and this is not me. Anybody who knows me knows I'm not a like a cocky person. That's not who I am. But I feel like I have the best part in the movie. I'm just gonna say that. Like I just really feel genuinely like my part is the best. And if you're a Trauma fan, I think you would love my part in Bride of Killer Pinata. I'll say that much.
Nice. And is it where is it going to be, on Amazon Prime?
Yep, it'll be on Amazon Prime. We're hoping for an October release. We're hoping right around Halloween for it to be released.
I'm going to have to look at it. I know Amazon Prime in Canada is different than the US. We always seem to get screwed here in Canada. So I will definitely keep an eye out for it. I stalk your socials anyway, and I know you'll be posting it when when it comes out. And bet Apple never saw that coming with their shot. No, right, Deadwalk? And it was old. I don't remember what iPhone it was, but it was an iPhone. I want to say for some reason iPhone 6 comes to mind, but I don't really remember. I can find the link to the family fan film of Halloween, and I can post it.
Well, the good thing is, like, you don't have to have a huge budget to make a great film. Look at Host on Shudder. The whole thing was shot on Zoom.
Yeah, during the pandemic.
Fantastic.
They did a great job with Host. I really enjoyed Host. And the small budget and during a pandemic, how they were able to create it, and it came out really good. And you didn't notice that it was a very low budget film. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that either, because I do love the looks of low budget films. Like you can definitely tell low budget film, but Host, you couldn't even tell that it was a low budget film.
Right.
Well, that's really awesome to see. Yeah, Serial, right? Canada always gets screwed. Big time. We do. We get screwed with horror movies. Our Tubi TV, I love Tubi. It's completely different than the States. You guys will have some of the really awesome horror films, and we won't have them. Like,
right.
And let me just see here. Let me just scroll up. I know I've seen something. Yeah, Monkey will take those random pictures, definitely. Let's just see. Are you suggesting that voters should not ask questions? Wait, what are we talking about there, Mitch? No, I missed something up there. Oh well. You blame Trudeau. I blame him on everything as well. But yes. We are getting to be about that time, guys. I don't want to take up too much more of your Sunday. I've already taken up an hour and a half of your time. Yeah. Thank you so very much.
It hasn't even felt like it.
No, it hasn't, right? I just looked at the time and realized, oh my God, I just took up an hour and a half. I love how CCOH goes. I always book for about an hour and 15, because we get off on tangents and we have fun talking about horror films and, you know, the things that we're passionate about, which is always fun. Yes. Oh, ask if they've seen 13 Fanboy. Yes. Have you guys seen 13 Fanboy yet?
Yes. Deborah Voorhees did an amazing job.
She did an amazing job.
I think it's unfortunate that Adrienne King had to drop out, but it was too realistic for her. For those of you that don't know, she had a real life stalker after the original Friday. Yep. And I know that Deborah does not want 13 Fanboy to be called a fan film.
It's not a fan film.
No. And I hear a lot of people saying the fan film, and I know that really offends her because
people say it's a fan film because they've crowdfunded from fans, and they did.
Right.
Technically can be considered a fan film because they did get the monies from fans. To me, it's not a fan-made film. A fan-made film is something like Womp Stomp and Red Crow films, things like that. That to me is a fan-made film. But I do understand where some people think 13 Fanboy was right, because of the crowdfunding. People get that kind of confused.
Right. But I think in her mind, what she's saying is like, this is not a Jason fan film.
Right.
Like, this is its own original story. Like, I don't think she's bothered by the fact that it was crowdfunded. I think she's proud of that fact.
Oh, yeah.
But I think the fact that people call it a Jason fan film really bothers her because
I can see
it's more of its own original story. But I know that she's very proud of the crowdfunding they did, the fact that it was funded by the fans. In that aspect, I think she's proud of it being a fan film. Yeah. I just think people look at it and think it's a Jason fan film.
Yeah,
and it's not. It's its own love letter to the slasher genre.
And it really is. I love 13 Fanboy. I thought it was great. Also, Fall of Camp Blood. Isn't that like Slash and Cast? Is it Nick from Slash and Cast? The Fall of Camp Blood is another one that's on my I've been watching that one. I can't wait for that one to come out. I think that's another fan made that's going to be really good. And yes, 13 Fanboy is an indie film because it wasn't backed by a big production company, right?
For sure.
And a lot of people get that confused when it comes to indie films. They'll say, oh, well, this is an indie film. No, that was backed by like New Line Cinema. That is not indie. Indie is where you get very little to no budget and you're doing what you can and people volunteer their time, or you crowdfund it. And that would be considered indie film because you're not having New Line Cinema or Blumhouse or any big production company throwing money at you, right? Plus, you have your own creativity that you can utilize because once you start getting big backers like New Line Cinema, Paramount Pictures, anything like that, they take over creative control. And your creative is out the window. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, especially 'cause a lot of them, they don't give a shit about the creativity part of it. They just want
They want to make the money.
Yeah, they care about the money. What can we do to make the most money?
And that's where they rig up our films.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it's all about the money. Indie, it's not about the money. It's about the passion, the love for the genre itself, which is always great to see. And there's not a shortage of that at all. Last few years, one of the better things to come out of this pandemic is a lot of people were making fan-made films and indie films at home or in the forest. So I was positive that came out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and again, thank you guys for Ken and Ashley. Thank you so much for coming on the show and hanging out with us on your Sunday Chat Horror. I enjoyed the shit out of this. I hope that I hope you guys at home here enjoyed watching and listening. Please don't forget to show them some love. There's their Twitter handle, their Instagram, and their YouTube. I know many of you have all three, so go show them some love. Also, keep an eye out for our mine and Ken's interview for my first horror movie. That'll be dropping May 11th, you said?
Yep.
Yes.
May 11th.
May 11th over on their YouTube channel, so make sure you check that out. Thank you again so very much for coming on. I really enjoyed our conversation, and I would love to have you guys back on in the future.
Yes,
We'd
this
be
was
honored.
so much fun. Thank you.
Awesome. Now, I will make sure all of your links and everything are down below in my description. I will get out a little clip as well for you guys to get out there. Thank you for coming on the show. Have a great rest of your Sunday.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Oh, I hope you guys enjoyed.
That was a blast.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for coming on. And I hope you guys had a good time. I'm just going to end with you guys here. So I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday. And I will give you some links for a clip and so you guys can put out if you want. That's up to you. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank
right,
you.
We'll see you soon.
Too. Have a good
Bye.
one. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, guys, thank you so very much for being here with us today. I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with Ken and Ashley, learning some of their favorite horror films. I did for sure. And seriously, thank you for taking your time out on the Sunday to come here and hang out with us. I love sitting here chit-chatting horror with you guys, and I love having friends on the show like Ken and Ashley. I'm glad you guys had fun. Please make sure you give them some love. They are an amazing couple. They have some really great content on their YouTube channel. And it's just awesome to see other horror fans and so passionate about the genre. They are very cool people, Deadwalk. Very cool. Like I said, I had the pleasure of chit-chatting with Ken not that long ago. A couple of weeks ago, actually. We recorded my first horror movie. And it was a blast. And I was so grateful to be able to have them on the show. You know, everyone's busy with life. And yeah, it was really awesome. You just reading up on Adrienne King? Yes, she did. She had a stalker, real life stalker, and it got real close to home. One of her reasons for dropping out of the 13 Fanboy, which you really can't blame her. That's some scary shit to have. I'm glad you did have fun. All right. We'll be live here again at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. We're going to be talking with Christoph Bathory from Dawn of Ashes. Yes, it is a Coffee Chat of Horrors double feature. We'll be speaking with Christoph, and yeah, Mr. Chico's like, I'm ready to go out. He's ready to go outside. It's beautiful out there today. Chico is definitely, yeah, he's done. That is why she dropped out of, yes. That's one of the whole reasons the rest of the franchise she dropped out as well, Serial. Yeah, you are right. All right, guys. Thank you so very much for being here. Thank you for your time. We are double fisting CCOH today. You got that right, Joy Toy. Serial Killer Joy, thank you so very much for being here and keeping the chat clean. Thank you for popping out the guest link. Thank you guys for being here. I will see you all later this afternoon at 1 p.m. Mountain Time to talk to Christoph Bathory. And I love your guts. Be safe out there. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. If I don't get to see you guys, double fisting is the best. I will agree with you. Always. All right, guys. I love your guts. Have an amazing rest of the Sunday. Mwah. And I will slash us all a little later. Bye-bye. Every time with this goddamn video.